Welcome back. Episode 28 of the Splat Sports Podcast. I'm Coach Russ. Barrett is not here. He'll be here next week, hopefully. He's studying for a bio test, so good luck with that. Justo is here. We should be pumping out episodes weekly now. Hopefully, Splat Picks came back. We've been manifesting it for years now. Check out the college football show. I think video should be up Saturday. It's going to be our playoff reaction. We're going to talk about the college football playoff in this episode, but we're not going to go too in-depth. If you want our real in-depth reactions, check that video out. I think it should come out this weekend. Our picks from championship weekend should be out at any time. We don't know what's going on there. The upload file is messed up. We don't know. That's on YouTube. So, but what's our first thing on the itinerary? Let's just do the playoff reaction while we're talking about it. 12 teams all in. 1 through 3 we kind of already knew. Arizona State, we didn't know if they were going to get we didn't really know where they were going to land, but 3 or 4 doesn't really matter. You get the first round bye. So Oregon, Georgia, Arizona State, and Boise all get the first round byes. Clemson is the next automatic bid. And then you kind of got a lot of, I would say, not intriguing matchups, but interesting matchups. When you look at the bracket, Oregon has the hardest path, realistically. You got to play the winner of the 8 and 9 game, which I feel like that's not how it should be. I feel like the winner of the 8 and 9 game should play probably the 4 seed, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess theoretically though, because even in most tournaments, it's like the 8 seed is projected to be the worst remaining seed, so that's why they would play them.
Yeah, I mean, it lets you do it like the NFL playoffs, where I think that's what they'll do. Because Oregon doesn't deserve that. I'm going to be honest with you. Oregon deserves to play the winner of Clemson or I guess they would play the lowest seed, whoever wins. So we'll see if that changes. A lot of people saying, hey, there should be a 16-team playoff. I don't think so. Let's stick with 12. Mainly Bama fans saying that. Jiros, your kind of thoughts on Bama? Don't go too in-depth because I'm sure we're going to talk about this on the college football show, but
yeah,
just give a light.
I think for the most part, I'd like everybody. If you're not an Alabama fan, you're happy they're not in it. But at the same time, though, it's like I've always seen it as the top 12 teams should get in the playoff a lot. There was some controversy, it should when there was 4 teams, it should be the most deserving for. But I think it should be the top 12 things. I think Bama is a top 12 thing for Tennessee fans, especially. I feel like it's one of those things where it's they should be in, but you're happy they're not because it's Alabama because they're a big rival. But overall, I do think Alabama got snubbed.
You can't lose to Oklahoma, though. You can't lose to Oklahoma. You can't lose to Vandy.
That's fair, but you can't lose to Georgia by 35 if you're Clemson either. And I mean, what this is at?
They won the conference championship.
Okay, is SMU or Boise State a top 12 team?
No, but they
exactly. I'll talk about it
you
more.
want it to be the top 12 teams. I get that.
Yes.
I get
the only guarantee I see is maybe one non-power 4 team just because I'd be fine with one. But with all these the conference champions, you get automatic bye and all of this, and it's just I don't know. I think I saw somewhere where they'll do this one where just because they have to in the contracts, but they're definitely gonna change something with this.
Yeah, definitely. But we'll talk about that more on Thursday. You'll get the rest of the gang's reaction. James and Shub, they'll be there too. Not on Thursday, but this weekend probably. So, but we got a lot more to talk about. I think next, yes, Bill Belichick. You did not spell his name right.
I don't care.
Belichick. Got the C. It's all right. Anyway. Belichick to UNC, 5 years is what UNC reported. I saw other people report 3 years, $30 million. But officially they released 5 years. I don't know how much money is in there. Interesting deal. A lot of people saying that we saw the negotiations. I'm sure we're going to talk about in the transfer portal, other head coaches that have moved around. But this opening seems interesting. It's a recruiting hotbed. North Carolina, Tennessee taps into that North Carolina pipeline a lot. They have the number one player committed to Tennessee in 25 and 26. So it's interesting to see what Bill Belichick's going to bring. He's a name, kind of like what they had in last time in Mac Brown. Interesting to see how he does at the college level. G-Russ, your final thoughts?
I don't like this hire. It just kind of makes no sense at all. I don't like this at all. Just because Bill Belichick's at the end of his career. And, like, I mean, I'd be shocked if he lasted the 5 years. And I saw his stats yesterday when they were talking about, how Belichick's going to do and adapting to the recruiting landscape and everything. In his final, I think it's like an 8 to 10 year span when he was drafting for the Patriots, and he was basically the GM at the time. They did not draft a Pro Bowler. That was not a punter. That was not a special teams player. So if he struggles to evaluate college talent, I don't see him surviving in a high school landscape where it's probably harder to evaluate players. That's my biggest thing about it, especially like if he couldn't get grown men to play his style, an older style, you're accountable for everything. I don't see him getting a bunch of high schoolers or just fresh out of high schoolers to do it, especially at a prestigious program, or that should be a prestigious program in UNC.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that recruits are just going to go there because he's a big name in his first year. But I think once they see the style of play, it's not an attractive style of play, being honest with you. But I also think what captivated him to take this deal was, one, his dad was a coach there. But I also think in his contract, I read this, don't know if it's true, don't know if it came out to true, but it looks like his son, as soon as Belichick decides that he's done, he's going to step away from UNC, his son will become the head coach. Don't know if that is exactly true. Don't know if that was something that was negotiated in the contract. From what I can tell, Michael Lombardi also going to be the GM of UNC football. So it's interesting what names are going to go there, I feel as if. But I just don't see it working out. I'm going to be honest. He's 70-something years old. He's not going to be traveling around to recruit these guys. You can't convince me that Bill's going to go from North Carolina to California to Michigan down to Florida. He's not going to do all that. So I think that he'll have a good staff. I would assume his son Steve is going to be the defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator. Who knows? Just interested to see kind of what happens there. But let's talk about the transfer portal. It's open, and it is flying around. We got a lot of big names, and then a lot of programs that you would say, why aren't there guys transferring from here? Colorado, not a lot of people transferring from there from what we've seen from the past. Looks like they're kind of keeping the core and looking like they're going to take on a lot of transfers. Also, have you seen what Marshall has done? They basically flipped their entire roster to the Southern Miss.
Yeah, I think I saw a lot of people committing over to.
So they just flipped rosters essentially. Kind of crazy. Another coaching hire that I think that we kind of missed on, kind of a big name, Rich Rodriguez, back at West Virginia. I like it. I think that he's going to do really well in West Virginia because those people love him up there. Was there Coach Pat White, coach that team that everyone remembers being high octane, and I think now Rich can throw some money around, and West Virginia, good NIL program up there, got players. West Virginia might be a little dangerous. Jiras, kind of your thoughts on transfer portal coaching, all that stuff going on right now?
I mean, it's the new era, like Hunter said about those two teams. Rosters are going to flip like crazy now. I was looking at a couple names in the portal. I think the Tulane quarterback, he was the number one quarterback.
Yes,
I can't think of his name.
Duke.
He went to Duke.
Yep.
Just thought it was interesting. Thought maybe could have gone somewhere better, like maybe someplace like, or even somewhere like Miami where they don't have somebody right now.
Yeah.
With Kent Moore leaving, or maybe a more elite Power 4 school. A couple players that have transferred before I thought were interesting is, do you remember Uri Gilbert?
I do.
Yeah,
Tight
he's
end.
transferring again. Bear Alexander, the guy who got the huge deal from USC, he's transferring in. So it's
Yep.
interesting that, and like I've seen a lot of stuff about, especially in Tennessee, where it's like a lot of the players transfer is just like more money. Like they're just leaving to get more money. The 5-star edge rusher from Missouri, he's gone now.
Mhm.
I would butcher his last name, so I'm not gonna try to say it. But overall, it's just an interesting stay in college football. They kind of, they've kind of opened Pandora's box that you can't get it back in. I don't think they'll ever be able to control it, but I do think we'll hit a point where it's like where it like slowly evens out, almost a curve. I don't know what that curve's called. I don't know. Algebra 2, I forgot. So, yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. What I've also noticed is that schools that have really good NIL kind of collectives, like Tennessee, like Oregon, um, those teams are staying together. I think Tennessee has 6 guys in the portal. Oregon, I don't know, maybe
They're staying for the
I haven't.
ring.
Yeah, Oregon, not a lot of people leaving. What's also interesting is a lot of these playoff teams. Interesting argument. A lot of these schools that are in the playoff, dudes are transferring from because the portal's open. I think that they're going to have to move the transfer portal back just because now the playoffs here. The playoffs going to be a longer kind of thing. It's hard for teams to basically put confidence in a guy that might be a starter for him. I doubt that. I don't think any starters. It's really backups and guys. Like I know for Tennessee, a lot of their receivers, backup wide receivers, at a position that Tennessee has some injuries at. A lot of those guys are leaving. So do you let them play, or do you let them, or do you say you're done? You've made your status known. We don't want you here. Interesting kind of thing there. I think the NCAA is going to have to do something with that. I think they're just going to have to push the portal window back.
Yeah. It also doesn't allow for teams that have made the playoff to like they're in the middle of the
Yeah, they
playoff. They're
can't
getting ready for the
recruit.
playoff, and they can't really recruit because they're so concerned about that either. So they
Yeah,
only have time to like replenish the guys like Tennessee's lost Caleb Webb and Chestnut. They don't have time to look at our series because they're trying to get ready for the shoe in Oklahoma State. So it's just I've seen a lot of people like when I say complain about the
Oklahoma State in the shoe.
that's Oklahoma State. I'm sorry, Ohio State. I was thinking about Jackson Arnold, but yeah. Um, but yeah, it's just going to be hard for especially teams in the playoff to just try to get guys out of the portal at this point.
Yeah, but interesting to see where some of these guys go. I mean, and I also think what's interesting is like we saw with South Carolina and the dude from Kansas saying, "Hey, they're coming back for another year because they signed a new deal."
Yeah,
Which
Dylan
I think,
Stewart did that at South Carolina too.
yeah, yeah. Um, Interested to see where this kind of goes. Big names to look out for. Michael Van Buren from Mississippi State transferred.
Mm-hmm.
I think because Jackson Arnold's possibly going to go there. It looks like they say that's where he's going to go. Jeff Levy recruited him, most likely. Make a lot of sense. So interested to see. SEC schedules also released today. So nothing really jumped off the paper at me. One
It's
thing though,
just the same. It's the same thing.
it's the same teams but flipped. A couple of non-conference games, but you know those happen every year.
Syracuse
Have you
pretty good.
seen? Have you seen what Alabama's away like non-conference schedule is the next couple of years?
I have not.
They got Florida State, and then they
Okay.
flipped that. Florida State, Wisconsin, and then the next year is Florida State and I think Ohio State, and then they flip that. For a team that's arguing a lot that they should be in the playoff, maybe look at what the Big Ten's doing and scheduling weaker non-conference opponents. I kind of like how Tennessee does it. They put one big non-conference opponent,
Big.
3 smaller guys. Big that they're
An
they're
average Power
brands.
4 team, which does end up looking decent.
There you go. So let's jump to the MLB, where a lot has happened. Giros, your team lost a guy. My team lost a guy. Your team lost a guy to my team. My team lost a guy to their little brother. Let's talk about it. Juan Soto signs the biggest contract in sports history, $765 million for 15 years. Stupid money, if you ask me. Stupid money. You're telling me that he deserves to be making more money than Juan Soto?
Say again. Juan Soto. You said Juan Soto.
Than
He
Shohei
should be
Ohtani?
making more than
Than
Juan Soto.
Shohei Ohtani? Than Shohei Ohtani?
He should not be. No.
Fence over
Steve
closed.
Pellman's got to throw money at someone.
No deferred money either. No deferred. $51 million a year for 15
After the
years.
5th year, if he doesn't opt out, it goes up another 5. That's insane.
He ain't gonna opt out. Interesting to see what the Mets do. Sign Clay Holmes too.
Just
He
the
didn't really
Braves
do a
every
lot for
year.
the Yankees. Speaking of the Braves, lost Max Fried to the Yankees for I think 8 years, $218 million. It's in that range.
Yeah, it was less than I thought it would
It's
be. It's
I
pretty
think
fair.
yeah, I think you got to steal realistically. He's younger. I mean, how old is he? What? Late
He's
20s?
26 or 27. He has the
Okay,
lowest.
so
He has the lowest ERA since 2020 among
there you go.
pitchers. Pitch 150.
I
Yeah.
thought he was a bit older. Now that you tell me that, I'm getting even more excited, Russ. I mean,
Yeah.
that's money. No opt outs, no trade clauses either. So this guy's locked in. He wants to be a Yankee. The Yankees. I wrote an article looking like they're going to pivot. Possibly Kyle Tucker is the guy that I feel like, from what I've seen, is the guy that the Yankees are looking at. I wouldn't really worry about the outfield right now because you have Jason Dominguez, I feel like if you really need to use him, plug him in there. You need to worry about first base and third base, and that is the big concern. There's been a couple other moves, of course. Willie Adames going to the Giants for 7 years, I think 200.
It's the biggest deal in their history.
Yeah, it's 200 something million. The A's also signed their biggest deal in history.
Yeah,
$33 million.
They were rumored. They were pushing hard for Fried. Apparently, they were like
Apparently,
for whatever reason.
Luis Severino, welcome to Sacramento, buddy. Geez Louise, you gotta be hurting to go sign. If that's the biggest contract, Luis Severino's your biggest contract. Don't go. I love me some Sevy now, but don't get me wrong.
Gotta start
rough.
somewhere.
Gotta start somewhere.
Hey,
Who did Toronto play for? Andres Gimenez, I believe.
Andre, yeah, from the Guardians.
From Cleveland. Yes, from Cleveland.
Great.
Big trade there.
Cleveland,
that's great. A team, yeah. Cleveland looks like a team that you had a lot going for you. You re-signed, I believe, Shane. Yeah. Did they re-sign Bieber?
I don't know. I thought they did something with Quan. I don't remember.
They re-signed. They re-signed. I'm pretty sure it's Shane Bieber. But you trade Andres Gimenez, who's been your solid cornerstone piece besides J-Ram. What are we doing here, Guardians? I mean, they're still work. So, interested to see what kind of – we're in winter meetings right now, so you're going to kind of see some more – oh, we forgot Blake Snell. Oh, no, we talked about Blake Snell last time we were here. But, yeah, Nolan Arenado going to be traded. Looks like.
Yeah.
Where do you see him going?
Threw the Angels in there. That was funny. Obviously, he's from there, but
yeah, both LA teams out. Dodgers and Angels. Looks like he wants to go to those boys in the Bronx. Just throwing it out there.
No one wants to come here because it's the injury bug. I don't blame them.
Yeah, I mean, what are the Braves doing?
We traded Soler. That's basically all we done for a platoon guy. But I mean, our concern now is getting healthy. That's just the biggest thing right now. I forgot they got someone from the Angels in that trade first when they sent Soler over as a guy. I don't know. I think they're going to try to do what they did with Ronaldo Lopez when he had his when he has a really good year. I think they're going to try to flip somebody like that. So biggest thing for them is just getting healthy. Find that because you have hoping Kelenic takes the next step. You have Harris. You hopefully have Acuna healthy. And the biggest thing is just locking down that 5th starting spot.
Yeah, that's rough. Gleyber Torres. There you go. You can sign Gleyber Torres.
Darnell also left, which I am very sad about. Best one too, catcher duo. But
you got a lot.
Murphy needs to wake up. So
yeah, but A lot of guys. I feel like a lot of people aren't signing anywhere right now. They're kind of just. I feel like a lot of people are waiting on the Soto deal, which I get. You want
Yeah.
to see where he goes. Soto leaves, you sign free the day after, but everyone else is just kind of sitting back waiting.
Who's the agent that has all these guys that have all
Scott
the
Boris.
pictures? Who?
Scott Boris.
Yeah, Boris. Yeah, he's big on waiting to spring training. He's big on waiting all the way to spring training to make him desperate. So
him.
We didn't talk about the Snell deal, I don't think.
Yeah, I think we did when we. Anyway, Blake Snell, Los Angeles Dodger, deferred.
I don't.
Who cares?
I mean, he struggled last year, right? To start, at least, he really struggled.
Yeah, he's a talented arm. I'm interested to see how this affects the Dodgers later. Just interested to see.
Well,
because my two Dodgers fans that I am in close relationship with are saying like, well, he's paying for himself right now. Yeah, Shohei's paying for himself, but let's be honest. What if he gets hurt like he is pitching wise? What if the Dodgers aren't very good? I mean, what happens there? Interesting to see what happens there. But you got a lot of guys. I feel like a lot of trades are going to happen this year instead of free agents. Kyle Tucker.
We're the king of trades, so.
Cody Bellinger.
Ripping off the poverty franchises.
Cody Bellinger on the market. Christian Walker, another big guy that hasn't signed anywhere yet. A couple other. Corbin Burns. Braves could pick him up. I wouldn't be shocked.
Need a lefty. Don't need him.
Yeah.
Actually, we do. Charlie Morton is older than dust.
I forgot he's there.
Gosh.
They say the Yankees are going to trade Luis Gil. And I would hate that. Just won Rookie of the Year for you. He's solid. He was the one guy that we could rely on in the lineup. And when Cole went down, now you got Fried. You got Rodon, who at times was very good, at times was bad. I feel like if you can get him, where he was. You're looking good.
What's wrong with Stroman? See it like Rodon.
He was hurt, and then he
just hurt.
Pitched bad, and then he got hurt, and then he'd come in, he'd start out really strong, and then like fourth and fifth inning, he'd just blow up. So
yeah, that's Spencer Strider. If it's not a strikeout, that thing's over the fence because he throws 2 pitches.
I'm interested to see kind of what the Yankees do because they got a lot to replace, and the guys that they can replace them with are young guys, prospects. First base in particular, second base, which I think is going to be like Peraza and Cabrera.
Very talented.
If I'm not mistaken. So interested to see what our teams are doing. That's the MLB. I'm sure we'll talk about it next week because I'm sure some people are going to sign somewhere. But that is it. Shorter episode. We'll be back with more topics. We'll talk about the NFL, NBA Cup happening right now. I'm sure as we get closer to it, we'll make our final predictions for the NBA Cup. Christmas episode. Juris, what are we thinking? Are we going to promise anything?
You want to dress up as Santa? Dude.
I don't know if that's in the budget. But yeah, Christmas episode. We might record it in person. Why not?
Around Christmas,
Can we do that?
Maybe.
Maybe. But anyway, Jesus loves you. We'll be back next week for sure. If not, I'll be here probably with Tube or somebody just so that we can pump out some episodes now because I want to talk about some sports and I'm tired of writing articles. So
you've written one article.
Wrote one article. Still got some more in the works. So check out the website. Check out our new shows. Check out the stuff that we got on the works. Check out our socials. Sponsors. Sponsor us. You know where to hit us. Hit us at the email on the website. There you go. Jesus loves you. Peace out. We'll see you next week.